We've got our connections all up, and it looks like we are now live. All the buttons have now started to flash and say, here you are.
Really? So are we live?
Don't you love it when technology works?
I don't know, because we never know when we're going to go live.
Okay, and there's the final button to let me know that we've now connected to all of our locations. And it's Wednesday morning. Can you believe we are into March already?
I know. And how many days till St. Patty's Day?
Oh.
St. Patty's Day is on the 17th. Daylight savings is on the 14th. Let's start with that one, right?
Wow.
So spring forward. Then we got St. Patty's Day. And then on the 20th is first day of spring. I don't know about you, but that's bringing me some hope.
Hey, guess what? Guess what? St. Patty's Day is our 6-month celebration.
Oh my gosh.
We will have been doing this for 6 months on St. Patty's Day.
Wow. Maybe we should have a parade, and maybe we should wear green.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I just made that stuff up. We don't usually do that on St. Patty's Day.
I have a green tiara.
Oh my gosh. My daughter used to have a collection of tiaras. I should have kept them so I could hang out with Tyrion more. Oh my gosh. What did I know? Anyway. I have an invisible one. Good morning. Good to see people. People are coming on, Tyrion. I think
let's get started.
Introduce ourselves.
Why don't we start that way? You start first this time.
Good morning. I am Sherry Berger. I am the owner of Here to There Consulting, and we educate business owners and entrepreneurs with those tools to balance life, finances, and business so that you can move from here to there, as we will create a custom roadmap to get you from here to there. And today, my co-host, Terry Ann Porter, is in the house.
All right. Hi, I am Terry Ann, life coach TA. I help you to defeat those lies of negative self-talk by changing your perspective, which will then open your eyes to those unseen possibilities, leading to pathways opening onto which you can proceed toward the truth. And today we are going to be talking about, how do you describe yourself? How do other people describe you? Sherry, how would you describe yourself?
Well, that's really interesting. So I worked with a coach just recently, and I know we talked about this one time. And so the coach challenge was that we go out to 3 to 5 people that are close to us, and we get them ways to describe how they would describe us. So a lot of people gave me all these different adjectives, and you got to get them down to 3, and whatever. It's about what other people see in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was this adjective, Terry Ann, that they gave me that I didn't care for. So they said I was resourceful and encouraging, and I was like, okay, that's good. And then they called me charismatic. Really? So I had to go back, look that up, see, do I want to be charismatic? And it wasn't, do I want to be charismatic? Have you met Sherry Berger? She's pretty charismatic. So I found out that I am, and I even put it on my coffee cup, Terry Ann. I found out that I was an encouraging, resourceful, and charismatic leader. And I also learned owning your leadership skills. I mean, those adjectives is so important. So, yeah. So today I want to ask other people, what are yours, Terry Ann?
I have had people call me encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
One that is a little hard sometimes. People tell me that I am direct.
Well, are you?
I am.
Yeah.
I am direct. I don't like the word games. I don't like it when somebody tries to beat around something and hope that I will understand what it is they're trying to say, but they don't want to say. I want it direct. Somebody will say, oh, but if I am, I might hurt your feelings. My response is, so what? I will be hurt. I will get over it, and we can move forward.
So we got encouraging, direct.
And let's see, how about determined? I think determined is a good word. It's kind of a conglomeration of focused, detail-oriented. I'm going to get the job done. But what I like is, like you were upset over the word charismatic.
Yeah, I didn't know how to deal with that.
I was a little bit upset when I was reading about my different words and, and the being direct and all. And I was reading and doing some comparing, and one of it says that because of this personality trait, whatever of mine, things will get done. But at the same time, it can also be offensive to people because they can perceive me as impatient and demanding. So I can see two sides, just like you're charismatic. I can see two sides of my focused, determined, direct.
See, and I got a bad taste in my mouth with charismatic till I went and looked it up and looked at the definition and then figured out, right? I'm very charismatic, but I'm not being authentically me if I'm not being charismatic, right? And Linda said, definitely the Terry I know is encouraging and determined.
Thank you, Linda. Yes.
Yeah. And remember, that's what I told you that I love about you. You were like, I'm direct. And I'm like, that's what I love about you. Because I don't like fakey people. So I know if Terry Ann thinks it, she's probably going to say it in a nice way, but it depends on the day, right? Some days it'll be just
hey, don't put me on the wrong day.
But she's going to be direct, and that's not a bad thing. So I have a story about a bad moment with charismatic. Everybody's like, oh, well, somebody asked me one time if I have a friend that does bank, and he's like, do you know that personality test bank? And I wasn't familiar with it at the time, but I was familiar with Myers-Briggs. I was familiar with, DISC, and I love people. My husband will say I collect people. So I usually know to adapt my personality a little bit to fit somebody else's. And I read people pretty well. But you know what? I'm perfectly imperfect, Terry Ann.
Oh, I love that phrase.
I know, when I've said it before, you said you love it. I'm perfectly imperfect. So I don't know about you. I had a bad week. I had a lot to do. I run my own business. And sometimes you're just really busy. And this was before the pandemic. So I can't even blame it on the pandemic. So I went to a happy hour. I had a glass of wine. I was hanging out. And who do I really, really love? Terry Ann loves teddy bears. Sherry loves Mickey Mouse. So this business associate that I sort of knew had Mickey Mouse on. So wouldn't that be a great icebreaker? So I run with my drink and I run up to him and I go, oh my God, I love you. You have Mickey Mouse on. And he just freaked out. And he said, are you drunk? And oh my gosh, I was so lucky because this other guy that had known me for quite a while, another friend of mine goes, oh, no, that's just Sherry. Well, that might be Sherry on steroids if you really think about it. Well, he's an introvert. He was quiet. He was shy. That is doesn't matter if I'm charismatic. I have to tone that down, right? I can't just come right in your face and be overly charismatic like that. But I ate, what is it called? I put my foot in my mouth and I went back. I apologized. Later, I sat down and had a cup of coffee with him. And now guess what? He's one of my best friends. He absolutely loves me. And we hang out. Well, before the pandemic, we hang out all the time. But he's an author. He's a writer. He's an introvert. He's just a quieter, shy individual, right? And his wife loved Mickey, and he knew. Well, he didn't know I liked Mickey so much back then, but now he does. And
he does now.
he will wear Mickey to hang out with me. He wore Mickey to my 50th birthday party, which was all Mickey themed. But yeah. Anyway, so to be careful with those, right? That was a bad moment to be charismatic. And you could have the same problem with being direct, right? Because there's people actually wear their heart on their sleeve. I'm actually sort of one of them too. But I've learned over time not to always wear my heart on my sleeve to understand who the person is. Like I said, I love that about you, but I'm very much, I think you know that too. I'm very much a heart person. So I could get my feelings hurt over that. But if I know the person, I wouldn't do that. But anyway, aren't there examples when that's happened to you maybe where you've came across as who you're really not?
I do. I have found sometimes, and I will sometimes just make a statement, just totally, no purpose, no intent, no nothing behind it. But if a person is having a bad day, or perhaps sometimes it triggers something in them and they're offended, but I don't know why. What did I do? So I say there's got to be some communication going on, even if you have different styles. And as a coach, sometimes people will talk to me about things, and I have to be careful because the thing they're talking about could be a trigger to me. Totally innocent. And a lot of times my directness can be a totally innocent comment and trigger someone else. I'm curious. A Facebook user said, I'm told I'm inspiring, encouraging, and determined. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because sometimes you got to go back. I mean, yeah, you want to, but the people that, yeah, do you agree with that? We can't see you.
Because sometimes people will say, oh, well, you're this way. Or, and describe you in a way, and you go.
And I don't know where Pam is, but Pam put out here, and I love, oh, that must be Pam, because I know that Pam, we can't see you though, which I know you would, you just have to accept. How do we have to play with StreamYard? You need to accept.
Oh, so if you go up here to streamyard.com/Facebook and accept, then your name will come across. I guess you can see her name on one of your threads, but I can't see it here. And that's another thing.
She says that she was told that she's an inspiring, encouraging, and determined leader. But what she really feels that she is a creative, resourceful, and colorful unicorn.
Oh,
and that so describes, I would say, because I know Pam personally, I would say she is inspiring, encouraging, and determined. But I would say what really describes her is the creative, resourceful, and colorful unicorn.
Nice. That's a good way
out of the box, which is not a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice. Good morning, Linda, and Debbie. And that's another thing that when someone describes you, you go and you ask your friends, hey, describe me in 3 words. Okay, that's how they're perceiving you. Do you see yourself that way?
But see, I have like 5 really close friends. And so I asked them what they thought. I did ask my husband too, but guys are not very good with coming up with words. What did your husband try to say? He tried to say that you were, and I'll agree, but
my husband said, take the Boy Scout promise. That's you. All of those things in the Boy Scout promise.
I was just like, that's way too much, Tyrion. And I was sort of being funny about it, but it's like, what are you gonna? I mean, that's nice. Take the compliment. Your husband's nice to compliment you, but yeah.
Grace says she's been told she's real, compassionate, and intentional, and also called direct.
And Pam says because she's one of a kind.
I love that.
Creative.
I like that.
But Pam, we can't see you on StreamYard, so you have to accept. Yeah, and we got a couple people that are, I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting when we are all connected to our other platforms. So this is interesting. But yeah, I want to know what other people think. Carla, what adjectives have people described you? My friend Carla is on here and she made me this cup. She actually just offered that she would make me a shirt to match.
Oh, how nice.
And what I like about it, I love Myers-Briggs. I love all these personality tests, because I'm a coach and I'm all about people's personality and understanding them. Mm-hmm. But what was your Myers-Briggs? What was your DISC? What was where if you have 3 adjectives, I feel you can remember them, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember them. I don't remember those different tests, but I do remember the words that people have used to describe me. And I think it might be because as you continue to go on, people will continue to use those words. People don't continue to use the A, B, R, L, G, T, Q, S, whatever the letters are for all the others, but they will use those words when they're talking to you. And other people will use the same words.
And I love what Grace just put out here. I've been told I'm real, compassionate, and intentional, but I also have been called direct. And yeah, those are good. I mean,
do you agree with those, Grace? When people say that to you, do you agree with that?
Well, that's the thing is you have to go back, pray about it, look it over. Like I said, I wasn't going to own Charismatic until I went and did more research. And then I was like, yeah. And not everybody likes me because I'm charismatic. And a lot of people love me because I'm charismatic. Mm-hmm. right? And I tend to love direct people. So Grace is one of these people I really like, and you, but I like direct people.
Mhm.
But not everybody likes direct people, right? And
So then part of it then does have to do then with the other person as well.
Yeah, and you sometimes have to tone that down when you write. And when I say I love direct people, I think part of it, I grew up in the East Coast. East Coast, we can be pretty direct, right? But then I'm also a heart person. So I've seen direct people before say something to me, and I've took it personally. And then later I get to know that person and go, that person is not abrupt. See, that could be maybe told as abrupt, and you're not abrupt. You know what I mean? So
or sometimes not abrupt, not direct, but more of the B word.
But if they know your heart and they know who you are, right?
That makes a difference. Does the person know your heart and where you're coming from?
And then we went a little bit further and we were talking about our husbands, and I've never really, right? My husband, if I tell him that my Fitbit, I can't find it. And I'm just diplomatically saying, I don't know where I put my Fitbit. And then I start talking about something else. I'm like, where'd Kevin go? He's all over the house because does Kevin sit still, Tyrion? He doesn't. I know you've only met him a couple times, but he's always moving, and he can get very focused and very determined to do. So he's looking, and that frustrates me because I'm like, I really didn't want you to go find my Fitbit, but that's what you heard. And you needed something to do. And so you know what I mean? So that's what you're doing. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, and I might be trying to talk to him about something else.
Right.
I just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't find my Fitbit this morning. And then I start saying, well, today I'm going to do conversations with Sherry and Terry, but he's already gone. And Kathy Weaver's out here saying, technology. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with our technology right now, just FYI. Some of these people are trying to accept StreamYard and it's not working.
You just keep joining in the conversation. I don't care what your name is.
Wow. Wow. That was one of your direct comments. I don't care what your name is.
Okay. Let me back up and correct this. I do care who you are and what your name is, but I don't want it to stop the conversation. How's that?
For some reason, Kathy Weaver put odd technology. Don't worry, she doesn't know. We had a lot of technology this morning. We had some echoing. I don't even know. We're not going to talk about it. We fixed it. And
Okay. Grace, I asked Grace how she felt about it, and she said she would love to be called loving, gracious, and a connector instead. I agree. I would like to have those words instead. I don't always get it. Linda says she's been told intelligent, smart, caring, compassionate, generous, and I have no idea what those other letters after that word are. Yes, Linda, I would definitely agree with that. Definitely would agree with that.
Well, and I think it's funny that Grace says, of course, I'm not sure I would love to be called loving, gracious, and connector, which I find those to be some of her qualities as well, right?
Oh, yes. And I only know Grace through technology, and I definitely see those things. Those definitely come across to me.
And I think we need to be, what is it called? We need to be who we are. It's just nice to know what other people maybe perceive us as. And if we want to be, I don't think Grace needs to work on this, but I'm saying if we wanted to come across more loving or more right. I think I told you this before, Tyrion, and I didn't understand it. My husband's like, you walk in a room and everybody gravitates to you. And I'm like, no, they don't. You're crazy. And he's like, yeah, they really do. And I'm like, I don't even know what he is talking about. Well, then I found out that different people will walk up to me, but it's more because I'm authentic, right? I'm going to say, I even told you today, didn't I, Tyrion? I love Terry Ann's hair. And I'm like, oh, your hair looks so nice. And then she's like, well, I watched it but I noticed, right? And if I like your shirt or I like your necklace, I'm going to tell you, but I don't just make crap up, right? If I don't like your shirt or neck, I'm just not going to talk about it. But I mean, I just love people. As Kevin says, I collect them. But anyway, and I don't know. I didn't realize I did that until my husband told me that. And then I was like, that doesn't even. So next time I went to a big function, I watched and then I realized, oh, so I thought maybe he meant I was being self-centered. But then I realized I put everything back on other.
Mhm.
I'm going to say, I love your hair. I love you. I mean, and that's who I am. It's not like I'm faking it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If that's not who you are, don't try to be that person. And nothing is wrong with being, I don't know, who you are, right? And I think people forget that a lot of times.
I think too, while it's important to know who you are and your description, it's also important to know about the other person.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people that I work with that I can just send a quick email and say, hey, I need this, blah, blah, blah. End of email. They both say, hey, right, yes. And it's okay. But there are other people I know, I cannot send an email that simply says, hey, I need this done. Can you do it for me? End of contact. No, I know other people and I have to know who I'm talking to. But they need the, hi, how are you? I hope you're having a good day. Then lead into that. Because if I don't,
and then you have to,
you're offended.
You got to end with,
and you've got to end with something nice too. Yes. So yes, it does. It comes down to you not only need to know yourself, but you need to know the other person. So you got to have some kind of a relationship with people.
So you shouldn't walk up with your glass of wine and get in their face and tell them how much
And
you
go
love
on
me.
about Mickey Mouse.
I still can't believe I did that. And praise God, like I said, I fixed it and we're really good friends now. But his first impression of me was not good. And we still laugh about it. What was that, like 5 years ago, right? But to know also if you offended somebody and go back and try to fix it.
Yeah. And so where is the heart? Where is the intention? Did I intend to hurt you? No. Okay, well, then so if I can understand your intention, then that helps with the relationship and the conversation.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of ways. I know bank, like I said, is one of them where you can know what different people's personalities. And like I said, I have a friend of mine and he's done bank for quite a while. And when he first met me, he was like, you know, bank. Because that's interesting too, that he would sit back and watch people in the room and how they interact, right? And we were just at a networking event. He goes, because you just change your personality just a little bit to meet the person that you're talking to. And you know what I thought? I was like, doesn't everybody do that? See? And so when people tell
but
you,
not everybody does.
When people tell you things about yourself like this, then all of a sudden you notice what you're doing.
Yes, Linda Wilson, definitely. You are creative.
And determined.
Determined. And what would be your third word? Ooh, what would you use for a third word for her? I think loving.
Yeah, she's very encouraging.
Very loving and caring.
And she always encourages other people. I mean, she is very.
Definitely.
Very.
Definitely. You know, when I first heard many years ago, we were in some kind of a group and we did some kind of a short personality test. I got to where I hated personality tests because there was someone in the group who would say, oh, well, don't talk to him. Don't talk to my husband about that. He's a whatever. You'll never get that kind of an answer out of him. And I was offended by it because I felt like it was being used to put down other people. And so for a long time, I fought those things. And then I learned, no, that was just that one particular person. They had problems and it was coming out in that manner. So, but I did not want to do the personality test because it came down to, oh, I can't talk to you about this because you're a whatever. And I've learned over time that those tests are good. And just like in our actions, it's the intent of the heart.
But see, I love people. But see, I'm an extrovert, right? But I love people because they're like snowflakes. They're all unique and different. And somebody said,
yes.
well, why aren't they raindrops? I said, because I'm the Alaskan girl. So they're going to be snowflakes, okay? And no two snowflakes are alike. And I'm funny because I can people watch and I can, right? Now, I have learned that I don't like one kind of person. And that's a mean person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what does that mean to you, Tyrion? Because if you look even further from that mean person, is that a mean person or is that a hurt person? Is that a mean person or is that a person walking around with a lot of baggage?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I think we got to be careful with those first impressions when we meet people.
Right.
And the more you understand them, the more you listen to them, the more you ask about them, the more you learn about them, then you can appreciate them for being them. Oh, there you go. I almost wrote a poem. Ha ha ha. I can't write a poem. You get the idea, right? But if you just look at somebody and you go, oh, you know what I love about Toastmasters, Tyrion?
What's that?
Putting in Toastmasters. We have so many different personalities in Toastmasters, right? And we have international. So I have friends from all over the world. So I have different cultures even. And what is our Toastmaster motto?
It's where leaders are made.
No, I'm talking about our, what is it called? We have to respect each other.
Oh,
what is the value?
Respect, integrity.
Yes.
Service, and excellence.
Excellent. And what I love about Toastmasters is everybody loves everybody. And I always call my Toastmaster family. Now, every once in a while, I hate to say this, we get a bad apple. But most generally, all of us don't care what your religion beliefs are. We don't care where you came from. We just accept you. We're a very non-judgmental environment to grow.
Oh, I love that. I love this phrase from the person we can't get her name across. Don't prejudge people. I've applied for a lot of jobs. God has never been one of them.
And that is
I like that.
But yeah. And sometimes we do that. And have you ever went back and thought one thing about somebody, and then if you give them a second chance, they end up becoming a very good business associate, friend, whatever, right? Because you gave them another opportunity. But I do think, I mean, we do have to wrap up here, but I do want to say one more thing too. I have some friends that have social anxiety. So the way they come across in a networking event is not really, if you sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, who they are, right? And they're amazing individuals. So if you just look at that. Yes, it's Pam. It's Pam. Pam is making all these.
Pam, I love that comment. And I may have to hold on to that and plaster that on my wall.
What are we going to talk about next week?
Oh, women as leaders.
Yes. See, and that can be another, right? So next week we're going to talk about women in leadership, because that is so much different at times, right?
And leader does not mean that you have a title behind your name.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I bet you didn't.
Oh my gosh. I think we're going to talk more about that next week. You guys are going to have to come find out what she means.
What direction will that one go?
I don't know. So I want everybody to have a happy Wednesday. And oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to give you one piece of advice. Get outside if you're in Kansas City. The weather is gorgeous and it will change your attitude for sure. So you can walk or have a cup of coffee. Look at today. I have coffee, then adulting. There you go. Have a blessed day. Do you have any final comments, Tyrion?
After your cup, I think I'd better go get me another cup of coffee. I'm not ready to adult, but I will. I will do some adulting. All right. Next week, we look forward to seeing you. Thank you all very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.